Good morning, everyone. I am really honored to be here. Nena and I have a long history together. She's one of the most amazing women I've met in the course of my tech career and my nonprofit career. And if you're new to the Expat Woman, I really want to make a plug for the Expat Woman. I belong to many women's organizations, leadership organizations, and in my opinion, this is in my top three. And the quality of the programs is outstanding, not just because I've offered to speak here, but I have learned so much. I have shared my knowledge, but I have also learned so much from the presentations and events that I've been to when they used to be in person. And I'm so thrilled that the Expat Woman has pivoted to this online offering so that we can all help each other in these horribly difficult, challenging times. And so I want to talk about what I'm going to share today. So this is a 9-step toolkit that I have developed through the course of my own career pivot. I'm in my 3rd career and scaling my career. And so, excuse me, people ask me, why don't I charge for this? Why do I give this process freely? If you email me, I'll send you the slide deck, I'll send you the process, everything. The reason is that I went through a very difficult time, a rough time in my career, and I joined a free coaching group run by this amazing coach named Jerry. And when I emerged at the other end and I said, Jerry, how can I pay you back? And he said, pay it forward. And so this is a part of my paying forward. I pay forward in many other ways, but this is one of the ways I do it in the course of my career. So this is a little bit about this before we get started. There is going to be a recording, so don't worry about taking copious notes. It is an extremely prescriptive toolkit, which actually should be done over the course of 3 or 4 workshops, interactive workshops. But what I wanted to do it is condense this into 60 minutes so that you actually can get a kickstart in looking for a new job or defining your brand, positioning yourself for job interviews and not waste any time. And do ask questions in chat. I will try to answer them as we go along. And I will also, if I don't get to them, I'm happy to answer them individually. My contact information is at the last slide, and I'm an open connector. So you can also reach out to me there, through LinkedIn or my email, and I'm happy to hop on a call if you are challenged with any situation that I've described in here. All right, lastly, before I dive in, does this process replace a career coach? It really depends on your situation. If you are in a very senior position, you need to run scenarios by somebody else constantly, then you need a career coach. If you are not in that kind of situation and you're very senior, or you're very mid-level, or you're junior, you're looking for a career pivot, this is a fantastic first step. And then after you emerge out of this, maybe you can make a decision if you want a career coach. And career coaches are not cheap. They're amazing. I've had 3 career coaches myself through my career. And this is sort of my understanding of how I did this. And so this is what I share. All right, so to get started, I lead marketing at tech startups, which combines 2 of my 3 passions, technology and startups. My 3rd passion is changing the world. And this is how I met Nena. And I'm the president of Maitri, a nonprofit that works with survivors of domestic violence here in the Bay Area. And our mission is to end gender-based violence. So what am I looking for? And I want to tell you, this has been a hard thing for me always to talk about what I'm looking for. And I am looking for my next opportunity as a CMO head of marketing at a fast-growing startup. I'm also looking for corporate board positions. And I also want to help as many women as I can through this process. So at the end of this presentation, there are 9 steps, and you will learn to do a bunch of steps in here, which are foundational. And every single activity that you do has to position you and define you as the best candidate possible. And the reason for this is, particularly in this time when there are tens of thousands of people who've been laid off who have the same skill set as you. Maybe they're not as awesome as you are. Maybe you can develop being more awesome than you already are. And so what you need to do is prepare yourself. You need to do this. You can only do this to position yourself as a premier candidate if you know your strengths, your aspirations, your successes, your failures, where you want to head next, and if you don't articulate this crisply, absolutely specifically, you will not be the premier candidate. So each of these 9 steps, there used to be 5, then I went to 7, and now I have 9 steps. Each of these steps is a foundational building block that will give you clarity on what jobs you're applying for, why you're applying for them, do they fit your marketing plan for yourself, etc. All right. So what I would like at the end of this for you to have answered the following questions for yourself. Do you know your brand promise and your elevator pitch for every interview you attend? What is the 2-sentence bio that you use when you go to a networking event? Do you ramble on, or do you have a crisp 2-sentence bio that you speak out and say, hey, this is who I am, and then the next question comes from your bio from the person who's listening to you? Are you doing your job search or your career pivot against a plan? So all of these, at the end of this, you should have a structure, and we will now leap into step 1. So 3 bios. Why should you have 3 bios? Is it really necessary? And, I've really struggled with this because people get stuck here, and I want everyone to understand the value of this. Each of these bios is going to serve you a specific purpose. This is a necessary step in branding yourself, getting your core together. And then once you have these 3 bios, you're prepared for any situation. Whether you meet somebody jogging and they say, hey, what are you doing? And you say, oh, I'm looking for a job. And 2 sentences later, the person understands exactly what you're looking for. So I want to give you an example that when you are in a networking situation or a work situation, the first question a smart hiring manager will say, tell me something about you. And the point is, you need to say something in 30 seconds. When you finish, the hiring manager should ask you a question based on those 30 seconds. So I hired a lot of people. In my career, I've hired dozens and dozens of people. So I want to share with you the worst story, okay? So I'm hopefully none of you have done this. So I interviewed a woman on the phone, and I asked her, tell me about yourself. She spent 20 minutes telling me about her life story, including her divorces, her moving out of the area, moving back, what happened with her luggage, what happened with her move. She lost her apartment. And she wouldn't give me a break to ask her a question. You don't want to be this person where you're already ruled out of the situation before you've had an opportunity to present the fabulousness you are. So now let's talk about what is this bio going to be. This bio, the first one that you're going to do, which is a 1-pager, this is not for public consumption. This is something that is going to core you. This is going to get your core in and say, this is who you are, where you came from, what were the trajectory you followed, what were the pivots you made, and what do you want to do next? So this is not your resume, this is not your accomplishments, this is not your awards that you got. You're not going to email this. I am sharing this, by the way, in this presentation for you, for your benefit. So what you want to do is identify your passion. And how you start with this is the best process I've found. Start at the beginning. You may want to say, I was born in India. For me, like, I was born in India, I moved here, I did this, I went to college. It doesn't matter. Or you could say, I grew up in a family in rural Vermont. Doesn't matter. Start somewhere. Don't get stuck. Start at college. Start with your first job. Start with your childhood. It doesn't matter. Go chronologically and keep on saying why you moved somewhere. Why did you choose the major? Why did you change this career? Why did you choose this particular group to work with? Why did you choose this company? Keep on going through this, and you will have maybe 3-4 pages, right? You've written your heart out. You've written embarrassing things. You've written amazing things about yourself. And then what you do is you start cutting it backwards. And you cut all the superficial stuff out of there, and you edit it until you have 1 page left. And the 1 page, this is my 1 page. This 1 page is your grounding story for your career. So it doesn't have to always involve things you've done personally, but you will see in mine, I actually have some personal stuff in there about my nonprofit work. So, have multiple paragraphs, and the last paragraph is identifying your future, your passions, and what you aspire to and what you want to do with it. All right. Then you're going to make 2 versions from the first version, the 1-pager. You're going to take that full page version and you're going to edit it down to half page and then a quarter page. And then you're going to do a last one, which is 3 sentences. And why do I want you to do this? So you have a quarter page bio now. And in this quarter page bio, you basically have 2 statements. And this comes partly from your grounding exercise. This is when somebody asks you, hey, you know, you're going to do a presentation like this one, for example, or you're going to write an article, or you are, you know, sending a little blurb about yourself to a job interview, you know, job position. This is what you would use, this quarter page bio. So it really talks about your key position at this point, what you are, and remember, it's not talking about your job, it's talking about who you are as a candidate. The 3-sentence bio. That's the 3-sentence bio. Actually, I used only 2 of my 3-sentence bio. I introduced myself in the beginning of this presentation. This is a personal introduction. People call it an elevator pitch. You can call it whatever. But you should be crisp when you meet somebody at a networking event and say, hi, I'm Sonya. And then they say, well, tell me something about you, or you want to add this to you. Hi, I'm Sonya. I lead marketing at, you know, these are these meetups you do at. I have a 3rd sentence to ground myself that, you know, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, daughter, sister, aunt, friend, all of these things. But I typically don't use it. But I just remind that, you know, that I'm much more than the sum of my job also. This is something, if you're doing career pivots, you may have to look at every time you do a career pivot, because obviously you want to change your career pivot and address the part that you're looking at. So if you were doing a career pivot towards doing, like somebody mentioned UX UI design, you would say, my passion is UX UI design. I have done all of this and I'm looking to pivot into this new career or something like that. All right, so let's now talk about your brand. A lot of people ask me, is a brand important if I'm junior? Is a brand important if I really don't care? This is, you know, marketing flu. So this is a brand. This is really talking about your aspirations, your skill sets, what you need to acquire, and how do you present yourself to outsiders. So this is not the brand like as in a company brand or, you know, an influencer brand. You could use this to make yourself in any of those kind of brands. Okay. So what is this value of, you know, we're going to talk about a brand, we're going to talk about a mission, we are going to talk about a vision. What is the value of this? So before I did my brand, what I noticed was that I was very attracted to shiny new objects. I was very like, oh, this is an interesting area. Should I go and explore this area? Should I be doing this? Maybe I should consider this. But I noticed that once I created my leadership brand, in my situation, I created a brand first and then a leadership brand. I was doing during my career pivot. And then I created a mission and a vision. And I found that it has been easier for me to say no to things that are not that valuable. I think for a lot of times, when you're desperate or you have anxiety, there is a tendency to take the first opportunity that comes by you. So I'm going to help you in the next few slides. I'm going to help you define how to create a brand, personal brand. So the process that I'm using is Karen Kang. She is a brand expert, personal brand expert. And she's written a book and she gives all the exercises for free on her website. I highly recommend to support her. Please buy her book. I have nothing to gain from it, but since I use her exercises, I really recommend that. I have the links at the bottom of the slide. You can see where the resources are there, and then you can download these boxes, these little templates. So why should you do this? And if you start looking at what she's talking about, core values, strengths, she's talking about your personality, she's talking about your career and dreams, long-term, short-term. This is what helped me decide that I wanted to go into marketing and I wanted to become I wanted to inspire younger women, and I wanted to coach and mentor women struggling through their careers. It's not that I'm limiting it to women, but I want to be honest that most men don't ask me for help. It's women who ask me for help, and I'm very happy to do that. So some of these things are really hard in here, but persist with it, and you will emerge out with super clarity on where you should end up with your brand experience. Okay, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Don't confuse the things that you learn at your job, which is your expertise, with soft skills. So soft skills could be that you love mentoring people, you love coaching people, you love working teamwork. Expertise would be you have deep financial knowledge, you're a CPA, you're a digital marketing expert, you're a UXI expert, you're a webmaster, you're a program manager, etc. And then the brand metaphor and the relationship image. These are really interesting pieces, which I struggled with for years. The brand metaphor for me was really difficult till I decided I was a California oak tree. Okay, so you can be anything you want. It has to be authentic to you. So why do I like California oak trees? I think they're so gnarly and beautiful. And they're on these hillsides, and you're suddenly driving and you suddenly see this gorgeous tree, which is all centered, and they've lasted a long time. And they're just gorgeous. I mean, they're sturdy, they stand there. And I think now at this point, I feel like I'm maybe a California oak tree, hopefully not as gnarly. Huh? Okay, so when you're doing this brand exercise, where do you start? So the template I showed you, you go to Karen Kang's website, again, go to the resources section, and you download these attributes. Circle the things that you already have. So for example, maybe you already have integrity. It's a core value for you, courage or trust or honesty. Maybe in your image, you already are very classic, or you're urban or artistic, etc. Just circle the things that you already are. Then circle the things you are not and you want to be. So for example, you wanted to start dressing differently. So then maybe you pick elegant or sophisticated or button down or business casual, I don't know, fashion forward. So these are the things. You're going to have two buckets now. You're going to have the bucket that says what you already are, and then a bucket that inspires you or you aspire towards. And honestly, I personally feel I have invented myself in so many different ways. I think if you put effort in it, and even if something you think is out of your reach, you will be amazed if you have a plan to move towards it. All right, so now you've done your little brand exercise, your template, you filled it out. It could take you several days to do it. You could come back to it after a couple of weeks. Remember, this is all the foundational work, and it's not fun. It's digging ditches. It's really setting yourself up for success. Please do devote yourself to it. Devote your time to it. So once you've done your bio, and you've done your, you've done your brand template, now you're going to do is your positioning statement. So why should you have a positioning statement? And I think for people who have lost their jobs, perhaps, or looking at a career pivot, or looking to get a promotion, you need to have a positioning statement for an interview that you go into. So for example, and people ask me this all the time, that should you have a positioning statement for every interview? Absolutely. You should every single time, and do this in a Google Doc or a Word document so you save them all. You should do them to the point where before you go for an interview or you apply for a job, you've already gone through all of this in your mind and you've actually created a positioning statement. So the target audience is a senior level manager. The problem is that they are looking to bring in somebody who has serious chops as a process project management expert. This is not a job that is in your career path, but you're doing a career pivot perhaps. What is the category that you are? You're an inspirational leader. You're detail oriented, etc., etc. What is your value proposition? What will you provide them with? And what is the competitive differentiation? So I'll give you an example. This is a really example that worked for me when I was in engineering. I worked in engineering and then I went to marketing. And my differentiation, I'm sorry, I'm just checking time because I want to make sure that we have a discussion after this. So my competitive differentiation was that because I came out of engineering and as a technical writer, a tech pubs manager, I was very much about attention to detail. I was very process oriented. I was very project oriented. And that's actually, I ended up breaking into a new career because they wanted somebody who had those skills, and I didn't know marketing. And they said to me that we'll teach you marketing, but what we really need somebody is to come in and set up processes, project management, for the entire marketing department, which was globally spread out. So Trust me, you have it. You just need to think through it, and your bio should help you with the pivots and why you pivoted to certain things and that trajectory. The next thing you need to have for every job interview that you get, or a phone screen you get, you need to have your elevator pitch. This is that little 2-line bio we talked about. This is a little bit more in detail. So an HR recruiter calls you and says, so what are you looking for? We see you applied for this position, and you really want to talk through all of these 3 things. Do it short, crisp, and so that the recruiter says, okay, or the hiring manager says, okay, this is somebody we want to give a second interview round to, or we want to really dive deep in with them. Again, should you have this for every job? Really, truly you should, because if you're applying for a variety of positions and you're trying to spread yourself out, then having an elevator pitch for every single position that you apply for is really, really important. Now, Karen in her book has many chapters where she describes on how to build out these exercises. I followed a different process. I followed my own bio process, and then I did the brand exercise, and then I started doing this. And for, the first, I think, career pivot that I did, I actually had I think it was a 30-page log that described elevator pitches in there for every single position that I applied for. And I always focused back onto it so that to differentiate myself and get a position that perhaps was, I was going to fight harder for because I had not had the straight path through. All right. So this is something I've added in the last maybe 5-6 years, a personal mission and a vision. And the reason I did this was that I started to find that I felt that if I had known about my personal vision and mission, if I had articulated it, perhaps I would have not wasted time on other things that I shouldn't have. And again, it became a tool that I started using to define it. And recently, it's an interesting example I'm happy to give you that recently I got invited to join another women's group. And I'm already a part of 4 women's group, including the expat woman. And, really everything that they talked about appealed to me. But there was one part in that did not appeal to me. And I thought to myself that, will this give me enough joy? Is this going to track against my personal mission and vision? And it didn't. And so I actually turned it down, even though I was very attracted to it. And so here was a great example that I had to remind myself, I can't do everything, and not everything is fit for me. And I should also not expend my energy in doing things that are perhaps not the best match. So here are the ways. There are many exercises online. Here's how I did it. So I completed my bio and the brand exercise. I had done it. I thought about my life and where I'd been, where I wanted to head. I brought clarity to what I did. For example, bring clarity to what you want to do. Is money really important for you? And it's possible at this point in your life, money may really be important. Is spending time with your family really important to you? Bring clarity. And, this is not forever, by the way. So if you had asked me 10 years ago, what do I want to do? I would have told you a different answer. But it tracked to my personal mission and vision. There was a time in my career where I wanted, when I had my daughter, and I'm an older mother, and I wanted every day to be home by 5 o'clock. And I wanted to, have her do her homework at the dining table while I cooked dinner. And then I went back to work after that, at night. And so that was very important. But once she went to high school, she didn't need me anymore. So I shifted my clarity. I shifted my whole thinking that what should I do next now? And, this is really essential. And remember, we are going to live long lives. We're going to, the 100-year life. That's an amazing book, by the way, you should read, which talks about millennials will have 7 to 10 careers. Those of us who were, the Gen Zs will probably have 15, 20 careers. So it's not you're going to be tied, but you need to have some kind of mission and vision in your mind. So here's my mission. It's very big, and this is how I live my life. And this is when opportunities come by, I think to myself, does this match my mission? So every day I'm passionately committed to ending gender inequality at work and gender-based violence in the world by being a leader who is a role model, mentors women, empowers survivors of familial violence, and is the voice of change in the community. And, this is something that's really important to me. And there are times when I've had to go back and read and say something fit in here or not fit in here. Of course, your mission can change. It's not a mission forever. You really need to know at different points, 10 years, 5 years down the path, what will happen and how your mission will change. All right, we're tracking really good for time. I'm really thrilled about this. So how do I see my future? What is my vision? It's very grandiose. It's very blue sky. And, you want it to be very grandiose. You want it to be very blue sky because you want to aspire to big things. And so I aspire to live in a world that I helped become more equitable and violence-free. Am I succeeding? Probably not as much as I would like to. Am I making small change? Yes, for people that I'm involved with at Make3, other women's organizations. But I want to have a grandiose vision. I want to have a huge blue sky purpose. And really, truly think about this so that when you are confronted by opportunities which match your vision, match your mission, you are prepared to take them. I meet many times I meet women who say, I'm not ready. They get opportunity and they're not ready because they've not prepared. When you prepare, the fear is out of it. You need to prepare yourself for this. When you're prepared and somebody comes unexpectedly to you, don't say 5 years from now, take a look, step in, find out if this is going to work for you or not. But if you've not built these foundational building blocks of your bio, who you are, what you aspire to, it's very hard to take this. Your brand, right? Does this track in your brand? And I'll give you another very interesting example of having all of these pieces come together. When I did the brand exercise, which was more than 12 years ago, I identified that I wanted to be a leader in both in nonprofit and for-profit. And once I decided that and I laid that on paper, I found that I would start assessing opportunities that came by me that would say, will this opportunity take me to the next level? Or is this a parallel track that I have to do in order to get to the next level? And I found that it was much easier and less anxiety for me to say, my next position that I'm taking is going to give me the right title. It will not give me the right salary, but it's going to give me the title and the opportunity. And so I was able to take it without feeling that I had shortchanged myself. And then I knew that the next opportunity I would wait for is the right one. So you may have, once you make this plan, you may actually be able to do a stepped approach if you don't get the right opportunity at the first time. And that's what you want, so that you're always in control of the situation where you know what you're tracking to. All right. So we are, let me just check if there's been any comments in here. Okay. No, we've not had any comments so far. So now let's talk about some of the tactical things you're going to start doing. So why is it so important to modernize your resume and your LinkedIn profile? And I will tell you, I hire for positions all the time. A simple example, I was hiring for a video production editor. I got 75 resumes in 3 weeks. So you can imagine, I looked through the first 25, I shortlisted a couple of people. I looked through the next 25, I looked through the following 25. But here's the thing, I spent 10 seconds on each resume. If you make me dig in your resume, guess what? I'm going to move along. I have 75 resumes that have come through, right? So if you are going to make me dig, I'm going to actually move along, even though you may be the best candidate. And the reason is that I feel you've not made my job easier, which is to hire you. If you're not going to make my job easier, then let's move along to the next candidate. And there's no shortage of gifted people everywhere, right? And you're on this call, therefore you are a spectacular, fabulous person, and you really need to show yourself as that. All right, so before we start this modernizing your resume and LinkedIn, here are some questions that happened in Q&A in previous presentations I've done on this. So many of us now are senior, or we are looking for a career pivot. Should you list jobs from your last Ice Age? So here's the thing. there's two problems with this, right? One is that you remove your jobs and then somebody asks you, hey, you only got 10 years on your resume, but clearly you've been working longer. So here's the answer. If those jobs are not relevant to the career pivot you're trying to make or the career you're in currently, then you should not have those jobs on your LinkedIn profile. And the answer is that they weren't relevant to this position. But if you like, I have a Word, I have a document. I can send you a Word document, which has all of those jobs listed. And this happened to me just recently. So my career coach actually asked me not to list my tech writing positions in my LinkedIn profile. And I had a phone screen. I'm in the process of interviewing, and I had a phone screen with the CEO, and he said, well, clearly you have had more work. And I said, it's not relevant. Can I send a detailed resume to you? And he said, oh yeah, no, that's fine. So here's how you can handle it. If you're worried about ageism, that could be another reason maybe you do it. But can I tell you, I think you should be confident that you're a fabulous person and somebody should be lucky to get you. Honestly, you can't do every job. You're going to do one job, which is the right fit. So I want to share a story about my hair here. I don't know if you can see me in here, but my hair on my profile, LinkedIn profile, has got a lot of white in it. I was tormented by this. And I was tormented with it. And I tried 3 times to stop coloring my hair. And the reason I wanted to stop coloring my hair was it was such a chore. It was such a hassle. It was a long appointment. All my hair is white in the front. And my coach said to me, if you're asking me this question, clearly you care so much, you should color it. And then finally, I decided I really don't care. And so I, went to a job interview. I cut my hair, stopped coloring it. And I went to a job interview, and I met the CEO on a Sunday, and I had an appointment with the photographer to take a new headshot on Tuesday. And the first thing the CEO said to me, you don't match your headshot in LinkedIn. And so I had to say, if we had met on Wednesday, I'd have a new headshot up there. So the thing is, it's really important that, you present yourself as a package, right? Not just the amazing expertise you have, the skills you have, the talent, the passion, etc. So a question people ask me is, can I get somebody to take my headshot with my phone? In the COVID-19 times, yes, but otherwise, no. Get a professional headshot, please. And make sure it's not from 10 years ago when you had hair which was different, or if you're a guy and you had a lot of hair. It should really be a current headshot. If you get a headshot taken with an iPhone, please edit it, make it look professional. Please collect all of your publications, articles, presentations, and put them up there. I'm amazed by the number of people who forget to do that, because that is a part of your profile. If you write on Medium, if you write on LinkedIn, if you are a part, you've given presentations, please share them. Otherwise, people don't know. Here's a really interesting question. Should I share my nonprofit work? 10 years ago, I would have said no, and I didn't. And for the longest time, I kept my 2 careers completely separate, even though sometimes I was putting in 30 hours in the nonprofit a week and 50 hours at my job, my tech job. Now things have changed. People want to see you bringing in much more than your techness, much more than your technology expertise. And I suggest, I actually look at it for even junior candidates. Have they done something besides their career? What are their interests? Because I think you're more than the sum of just one part, right? You want to be really showing everyone the personality you have. Are references important on LinkedIn? How do I get references? So let me tell you, my last 3 jobs at CMO, head of marketing, have been received. I have gotten them without the person checking my personal references. I have 23 references on LinkedIn. So I also give references. I don't give references freely. If I feel somebody was a spectacular employee, I will give them an outstanding 5-star, 7-star reference. If people ask me for a reference and I'm not comfortable, I don't. So it's not something quid pro quo. I have had people give me references, but I'm not giving them a reference because I didn't feel comfortable. So how do you get references? Please work on this. Be very specific with somebody you've worked with. It's not just your boss, not the person you reported to, not the person who was, your peer only, but it could be you joined a team and you guys did amazing things. Ask that person. Be very specific. Say these are the 3 areas I'd like you to talk to about me, or one area. If you just say to somebody, give me a reference, guess what? It's such a burden on people to write something. They'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. They have the best of intention and 3 months will pass and then they'll never do it. So, and then if you've had great interactions with somebody, don't wait for them to ask you, recommend them. Give as much as you receive, and you want to do good in the universe. All right. So last 2 questions people have asked, who should I follow on LinkedIn? Should I be posting? I'm a very private person. Do I need to be on Twitter? On LinkedIn, you really need to follow, at least follow people in your industry, follow people in the industry you're trying to break into. Show that you are doing some activity. You are following and you are reading things in your area. Respond to posts that are useful, which you like, which you think other people may enjoy. You're a very private person. Do you need to be on Twitter? Let me ask you this question. Does your job require you to have a social media presence? Like, are you in marketing? Then maybe yes. Are you a scientist who does groundbreaking work? Maybe yes, if other scientists are on. Are people in your space on these channels? If they are, you need to be on there. You need to figure out a strategy. You need to be authentic there. You need to be sharing things that are useful, commenting on other people's posts. It has to be thought out. If you put your Twitter or your Facebook or your LinkedIn in your resume, I will go and check it. So make sure you are, showing your public profile if it's valuable to you. If it's not, don't have a Twitter account. Lock down your Facebook account. I do want to share with you a story, a hiring story. I have tons of them, but I'm not going to go through all of them. But I want to share the story. So I was the digital marketing manager, social media marketing manager for a $1.5 billion division of Thermo Fisher Scientific. In the summer, I was going to take 4 weeks off and I was going to hire an intern from college. I had 2 candidates left, and this young woman and this young man, they were left, and it has nothing to do, I'm just telling you the genders so that for the story's sake. And so I said they were going to manage the Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and the blog while I was gone. I would be checking in every day, but they were going to manage. So I said, okay, can you give me an example of your social media profiles? The young woman, what she did, she went to Facebook and she locked her account and she put her LinkedIn photograph on her Facebook account. So when I went, she didn't have a Twitter account. I didn't require it. So when I went to her Facebook account, I couldn't see anything except her professional photograph. So the guy, when I went to his Facebook profile, on his banner image, he was sitting at the pool on a lounger in bathing shorts, and his girlfriend in a bikini was sitting on the top of him. And I thought to myself, wait, you're going to be in charge of this channel, these 5 channels while I'm out, and I'm going to be in another time zone in Europe. So I hired her, and he called me and he said, I said, you guys were neck to neck. And he said, so can you give me feedback why you didn't hire me? And I said, that was the reason. And it didn't strike him. And I said, when I asked you for the account, you could have said, I don't have Facebook, and I would have not gone to your Facebook account. And I'm just saying to you, if you are neck to neck with a candidate, you need everything in your corner that will make you the premier candidate, which will make you be selected versus somebody else. All right. Okay, so modernize your resume. Can I, as the hiring manager, tell you are the right candidate I want to talk to in the first half? If you're going to have an old-fashioned resume, I'm just going to move along because I only have 10 seconds to take a look at it. Do you have your successes and expertise in the top third? If I'm hiring you for social media position, do you, in your first 3 bullet points, tell me what kind of social media you've done? Have you set up new channels? Have you engaged people? Do you have lots of followers, etc., etc.? Also now there's 1,000 tools, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in UX UI, whether you are in engineering, stand yourself out. I think the statistic 3 weeks ago in the Bay Area was 220 startups laid out 20,000 people. There's a lot of smart people out there vying for the same positions. Get a Canva template. You don't have to make it as complex as mine. I have a long career. I'm looking for certain positions, and I'm going to share with you my resume. You can go to Canva and you can select any resume template. So if you see my resume, I talk about my expertise and my key successes in the first half of my resume. I talk about my work experience. I have my nonprofit on the next page. If you have less than 10 years of seniority, please do only one page. You don't need 2 pages. Don't describe everything in detail. The positions that I have listed out on my resume, each of them addressed separate areas that would be interesting to a CEO for a CMO CRO position. That's how I've listed this out. I've listed select awards out, and you can see, you can contact me on all of these channels, and then I have my education listed. So if you make it easy for me to get my job requirements, I will call you if you're very interesting. Okay. So now you've got your resume and you've got your, and then don't forget to go to LinkedIn and add all of the information on LinkedIn. So the reason why LinkedIn is so important, I want to tell you. When I get a candidate, the first thing I go onto LinkedIn, I search them by name and I take a look at it. Do you have that blue default banner image on LinkedIn? Please don't. -5 points from my side if you do. Make some effort, make yourself look the right person that I want to bring into my team. I have had employees I have taken to multiple jobs. I have such stars who work for me. I love them, they love me, we work together. You want to go to places where you're going to learn, somebody's going to appreciate what you do and really help you become the star and shine your light out there. All right, modern headshot. Please, whether you're self-conscious or not, get a professional headshot because they will help you, get the best headshot for your personality. They used to be Blink. I think they've gone out of business. They used to charge $25 and then $10 if you bought a shot from them. I think I paid $160 for 5 different headshots into 5 different sizes. You can please do this because people judge you in 3 seconds. When I go to LinkedIn and I see your photo, I'm going to judge you in 3 seconds. If your hair is untidy and you've just got a side picture and you're not, I'm like, there, pay attention to detail. It's a requirement of every job, right? There's some tips in there. By the way, these are for women. If any man is on this, there's makeup is for the women. I don't recommend men wear makeup unless you want to. It's up to you. Really, you should. Style your hair off your face. Let me see one of your ears, please. Wear a V-neck for women. For men, please don't wear patterns. Try to wear a solid colored shirt, a blue, white, or pink. Depending on your skin tone. Some guys look really good in pink. Some guys look really good in orange. Be modern, use modern colors. All right, so your personal cards. So you're in the job search. Right now, it's all going to be virtual. So I don't know if, you may not want this right now. But let's say that you are an amazing website designer and you have a portfolio. Make a card with just the link to your portfolio and hand that out. You are an engineer who has produced some app. Make a link to that app on the back of your, your little business card. Show yourself that you've prepared to come here. You've prepared, you've prepared to show somebody that much more than your resume itself. I have a friend who blogs. Her business cards only have a blog link in the back. My business cards have the fact that I'm a leader and I do nonprofit leadership and etc. I have 3 different phrases on the back of my blog, of my business cards. You can use MooCards. I use MooCards personally because they do non-standardized cards. It's a great icebreaker when you go into a personal interview, which will probably happen next year now. So I hand my card and the first thing people will say, oh, what cool cards. And then we've broken the ice and, we've sort of gone in there. So I want to share a tip with everyone on interviews. When you go to an interview and somebody says, would you like something to drink? And most of us say no. So I want you to say yes, even if you take a glass of water. So now you're going through the interview and you're not sure of the answer. Then what you do is, and you think about it and you take a sip of water. That gives you 5 seconds to position your answer the way the person is asked. Anyways, I use my personal vacation photos for my personal cards. I think I'm much more than just the position I have at a particular company. And I encourage you all to start thinking about yourselves like that. Let's see. Now, let's talk about your stories. So it's really important that you always have 10 leadership or professional stories or your expertise stories ready. Write them down. Follow any model, it doesn't matter. I use SOAR, which is situation, obstacle, the action you took, and the results that came out of it. Write 10 and then delete 5 of them, the weakest ones, then add 5 more. Make sure you have failures in there. The thing is, don't do a fake failure like I'm in attention. What is your failing? My failing is I pay too much attention to detail. That's a brag. That's a fake brag. So finally, I want to share with you my failure, which has been very hard for me because I have always prided myself on hiring stellar candidates, mentoring teams, building teams at multiple jobs. My biggest failure was I hired somebody who lied on their resume. And I found out about it before I made the offer, and I still hired them. And I have been tortured by this decision since then. It did not turn out well. It turned out terrible. So it took me a long time to practice saying my failure. So I want to encourage you all to really think of a failure, what you learned out of it. And, and my learning was that when somebody lies and you find out, do not hire them, no matter how fabulous they sound. So this is really important because when I'm looking for somebody, I'm not just looking for you did this much work. I'm looking for, are you the person who's going to come in and be a T-shaped candidate for me? T means you have a wide range of things that you are you know about, and then you have a T, which is a very deep expertise, which I'm looking for. But are you also a broad scoped individual? Because today you can't be working in a silo. There's no way. All right. So now you're going to create a marketing plan. All right. And in this marketing plan, this is really important. This actually has 2 slides. It's so important. So you're going to create these sections: a professional objective, a timeline. So, and then you're going to talk about job levels, okay? And then the strategy you're going to employ. And I'm going to give you examples on each one of these. All right, so your marketing plan is specific to your situation. Your professional objective is, let's say that, let's do scenarios. I'm going to do 3 scenarios with you guys quickly. So you're going to do 3 scenarios here. Scenario number 1, you've been laid off. You don't have any savings and you need a job ASAP, all right? So your professional objective is you need a job ASAP to pay the bills. So your objective is going to be to find paying job in the next 3-4 weeks or the next couple of weeks. A gold job would be a job at the same level you were and the same salary. A silver would be a full-time position at a lower salary level, but in the same work you were doing. A bronze could be a contract position that will help you pay the bills. What is your strategy going to be? You're going to look on LinkedIn. Are you going to email people you know, recruiters you know, personal campaign? Are you going to conduct a personal campaign? Okay, here's another scenario. You know you're going to be furloughed. You have savings for 3 months. Or you have savings for 3 to 6 months. So your objective is to get a job at the level you're at or at a higher level. The timeline is 3 months because you want to keep some money to be able to, get through it. Your goal will be the same level of position at a high or, at a higher level. It could be, silver could be that, you have to work remotely. The position is in another side of the country, but you're going to take it because it's the same level, same money, and, you're going to come out of this stronger. And the bronze could be that, you're going to contract for a while or you're going to get a position at a lower level. So the strategy that you employ to reach out should be based on what has worked for you and then new best practices. So for me, my strategy that has always worked out, it's a numbers game for me. I am one of the outliers who has never gotten a job through a contact. I know this, everyone's probably gasping on there. My husband, on the other hand, has never gotten a job through applying for anything. He's always gotten it through contacts. But the thing is, he does a kind of engineering which is very unusual and unique, and he's never out of work. Is it because you've emailed all your friends and let them know? So make sure you actually have a strategy that what you're going to do. All right. So now let's talk about networking principles. The principles I'm sharing with you are from Jerry, this career coach I had when I had a very rough time at my job. His principles are that your only job when you don't have a job is to look for a job. Okay, no matter what else you have to do, get up in the morning and start looking for a job. Prepare yourself. So I won't go over everything because we have about 7 minutes left. But I want you to read this when you get this slide deck. Prepare yourself before you meet somebody to network. I cannot tell you the number of people I meet who are amazingly prepared, and then I have this whole group of people who are not prepared at all. So I can't help you if you're not prepared, if you've not thought through what you want from me. Don't go there asking for a job. If you're networking, have you researched this person? Have you looked at their LinkedIn profile? Have you looked at common companies you've been at? Have you got your pitch? Is your pitch going to be that, can you connect me with 2 people, and the people you've already looked at or they can think about? Ask them, when can we connect again? Be as crisp and clear as you can be, because you're going to make it easy for the person you're networking with to help you. Okay, so, all right. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, here's the thing. Average of 20 to 30 minutes preparing for the meeting. You must spend that much time. Look at the companies they worked at. Look at the goals that you have, that you personally. So if I ask you and I meet you and I say, what are you looking for? Then you should say, you can have a conversation with me and say, I'm actually looking at 3 different verticals. I'm looking at moving my career out. I'm looking for the same job, things like this. Ask them permission. Can I stay in touch with you? I get contacts on LinkedIn all the time. People don't make any effort. If you don't even put a note in there, I'm an open connector, but I will not connect with you. If you say I was scrolling through LinkedIn and your profile popped up, I'm not going to connect with you. Make some effort. After this webinar, I'm going to give you a freebie. Say, I love the webinar. I hated the webinar. Sonia, you speak too fast. Can I meet you? Any of those, make some effort and I will connect with you for sure. And my network is available to anyone who connects with me. All right, so I want to talk about, some recommended reads that you should read while you're preparing for this pivot. There's 100 other books, and I'm going to give you so much material, but what I want you to start with is these 3 books. Karen Kang's Branding Pays, I think it's like $5 on Amazon. Emotional Intelligence is always a good read, even if you read it 5 years ago. Please read it again. It's really wonderful to center yourself. And the 3rd book that I want to recommend is very tactical, The Startup of You by Reid Hoffman, who was the founder of LinkedIn. I think I'm a networking guru myself. When I read that book, I was blown away by how phenomenal it is. At the end of every chapter, there's 7 things you need to do. Unbelievable things. Even if you take 5 things from there, your networking will improve tremendously. The last one at the end of this slide, you can see, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm supposed to exit out of here. Sorry, just 1 second. I'm just trying to figure this out. Present again. Sorry. Okay, so when you look at this, at the end of this, there are resources here, more resources. So I do a lot of leadership for women in another group called How Women Lead. And we actually did Pivot Your Career. And then we created a spreadsheet, 3 of us, the 3 panelists. And in this, there's podcasts, videos, blogs, books that we all love and highly, highly recommend. So you can click on this resource list. It's a Google sheet. You can view it and you can start looking. There's things recommended all the way from Simon Sinek to, things that are PR related, things that are personal exercises you can do, many, many things in there. Really wonderful. And I think you can find something useful to yourself. All right, so, oh my God, I spoke fast. We have 3 minutes left. And before we start the Q&A, here are the ways that you can connect with me. As a way of giving back, I'm really happy to hop on a call for 15, 20 minutes with you. If you're stuck at any process in here, any step, you're struggling. If you just want to also brainstorm, I'm in between jobs right now and I have more time. Not as much time as I thought I would have, but I do have more time. All right, so Could the spreadsheet link be shared in the chat, please? Yes, absolutely. Let me just go to that slide. There we go. Here you go. And there you go. We have only 2 minutes left. Nena, do you have questions or you want people to ask? You have questions or other people have? Because I don't see any
They
questions.
are in the Q&A box. If you look at the Q&A box, there are 2 questions. So we have time for those 2 questions.
Perfect, perfect. How much should your LinkedIn profile mirror your if you're applying for the same role, can you use one template? Yes, you can. So what you should do, let's say you're pivoting your career, I would say, change the objective in your resume. If you're doing an objective-based resume, say, change that to that position you're looking for. If you're applying for the same positions, use the same one template. Make sure it's then much wider and much more higher level. So if you're looking at a position that values some other things you've done, you may have to change your successes or position that a little bit more strongly. LinkedIn should profile your resume. I will say this from my personal use and people that I watch, it should really mirror your resume. I will use your, I will actually, so I want to tell you, this happened to me about 8 years ago. I started noticing this when I applied for jobs, and I'd go there, everyone would have my LinkedIn profile open on their laptop, interviewing me. And I started doing that because guess what? I don't have time to find the attachment of your resume in my email box, which has 5,000 emails I've not read. So the quickest thing for me is to go to your LinkedIn profile and have that open when I'm interviewing you. So, it really should mirror that, in my opinion. How do you adapt? Yes. How do you look for a job, start a job at home? So, adapting is a very, very, very difficult time. I hope the person is anonymous right now. Yes, I can, by the way, Marilyn, I can give you the template used. Reach out to me by email. It's in my profile, and I'm happy to share my Canva template. So I'm a part of several women's groups that are giving free online webinars to center yourself, adapt tools. I'm doing one tomorrow. So if you guys want, you are welcome to come there. I know Nena's group is doing. Try to attend as many of these. They're all free. So it's things like resetting to the new normal, things like that. What we are trying to do is remind people that they have the resources in them. But the problem is that we are all getting shook up. Every time there's a piece of bad news, we get shook up again. So for example, I know I meditate, I do exercises, I do everything. One of the strategies I had to remind myself about 5 weeks ago was the most important thing for me every day was not to look for a job at this moment, but was to finish taking a walk. And I realized once I made that goal and I did the walk, my whole day was productive then. So what is the thing for you that restabilizes you? Is it meditation? Is it making dinner? Is it sitting outside? Is it talking to your mother? I don't know. You have to figure this out. And how do you look for a job or start a job when you have a young child? People are very forgiving right now, but there are many techniques you can use. And I'm happy to talk to you, dear Anonymous. Reach out to me and we can have a conversation and I can tell you what other women leaders are doing. Okay, so we have gone over time. I want to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity to pay back. And Nena, as always, love everything that you do. Everyone, if you are not a part of the Expat Woman, please become a member of it. Thank you.